A lot of power is thinking ahead, 2 or 3 moves ahead. And in order to think several moves in advance, you know what your intentions are. You know where you're going to go in 6 months, right? And so you have to have a vision of where you're headed, but you have to keep everybody else in the dark so that they can't predict what's happening next. When you make other people think about what's going on in your head, you're the one in control of the situation. Whereas if they know everything that you're thinking, everything that you're doing, then they have power. They have power over you. Power is about appearances. And there's weakness, things that show weakness. And in my book, The Loss of Human Nature, I talk about the weak body language, the weak signs that people can kind of feed off of you. They smell it. Then there are powerful things. And you want to create this aura of power, even though inside you might not feel so powerful or feel so comfortable or secure. But outwardly, you want to show this appearance that makes people think, wow, this guy, he's authority. I respect him. Talking less creates an aura of power. It makes you look larger than you actually are. It makes you make people think he's mysterious. He or she's mysterious. When you talk a lot, I don't know if you've noticed this, but people who talk a lot, there's something insecure about them. If you can't control your own mouth, if you can't control that, then what can you control? You can't control your emotions. You can't control your behavior. It signals weakness and insecurity. Whereas talking less, you're not going to say something stupid. And then when you do speak, it's going to carry a lot of weight. So it seems like an unimportant law. Oh, always talk less than speak less than necessary. But it's actually extremely important to understand the psychology of what gives the appearance, the aura of power, and what doesn't. Down to the baseline of every human being, we're all actors. Some are good actors, some act more, some are bad actors. But I always tell people, if you look at children, 3 or 4 years old, or you remember your own childhood, you were constantly pretending, you were constantly acting to your parents. You would act like an angel to get something that you wanted. You'd act all sweet and innocent because you wanted some candy, you wanted some game. Being an actor is part of human nature. It's deeply, deeply ingrained in all of us because we're a social animal. If you went around just speaking everything that you thought, you would offend everyone around you, right? If you told somebody that their clothes are ugly, that they look fat, that their ideas are stupid, they're going to hate you. You're not going to get very far in life. So you learn at an early age to control what you say, to control who you are, to control what you do. Think about your life, Mark. When you are interacting with Michael Jordan, you have a certain way of behaving around him, right? You're probably a little bit intimidated. You probably don't speak as much. But when you're around one of your other employees who just joined, you're completely different. You're acting. That is acting. That's how we all are. We're different in front of our Father than we are with our friends, right? So get over this notion that we can all just hang out and just be who we are. You're never being who you are. You're always acting to some degree. And what Machiavelli talks about is people rise to power. They become a CEO, they become a leader, they become a president or whatever, based on certain qualities that they have, a strength. It could be aggression. It could be being a people pleaser, being just very empathetic. It could be having a populist touch. It could be good with words, an orator. That's their strength. They use that and they get a lot of power because they're good at it. They don't have to think about it. It's almost natural to them. They get to a position of power, and now the times are changing because things are always changing, particularly nowadays where things change month by month, right? Trends are changing. Young people are coming up. Tastes are changing. The world is changing. Your rivals are changing. The business world is changing. And you're still holding on to that one quality that brought you to the top. You're still thinking that my aggression, or that my being popular and pleasing everybody, or my speaking well, and you keep holding on to that, and the world has passed you by, and you're weak. And Machiavelli said, if I could create the monster, the Frankenstein of a leader in business or politics, whatever, it would be somebody who could change with the times, who they rose to power based on a strength, They see that it's not quite the right quality, and they adapt, and they move with the times. He compared it to a river, right? And you're kind of moving like the water, you're flowing with this river, and that's power. But being rigid and having a form and having a strategy that you always rely on and having a personality that you always exude to the world and perform as is weak, because you can't adapt. To change yourself, to become fluid, to be something different, means you have to let go of the past. You have to let go of your ego. So that's a very important quality. Don't think of power as these are these set laws that I have to follow. It's got to be this way. It's got to be A or B or C. Open your mind up. Don't be so rigid about it. So sometimes you have to be consistent, right? That's your brand. If you're certainly changing your brand every 6 months, people don't know who you are, don't know what it's about. You're going to lose your customers, your clients, right? But if you're too stuck, if you're too always the same, people are going to be bored with you. So the game in 2025 and moving forward has a lot to do with attention. People have written about this, but attention is money. Attention is something that you can monetize, right? Being able to get the attention in a world where you're competing with billions of other people out there, right? Okay? And so in order to gain people's attention, people get very bored, right? They get very bored very quickly if you're always the same, if you always have one note. Nothing ever comes free in this world. Nobody ever gives you something free. Now, there is an exception to that. Your mother probably loved you. Not always, probably loved you, not expecting anything in return, but usually, even mothers do expect something in return. So even their love is not often totally free. But nobody gives you anything for free. They're wanting something in return. And it's a trick where they're thinking that if they offer their services for free, you're going to go, okay, that's great. And you're not going to pay attention to the fact that they're after something else from you, right? And so it's always better to pay people and pay them well for their services. So if you're generous with your money, if you show that you're not niggly, you're not a powerful person, feels confident in their wealth, feels confident in their resources, feel confident in the time that they have. And so they give that generously to other people. Being tight with your money, not wanting to pay your employees well, is a terrible, terrible quality, and it will bite you in the end. So I always tell you, maybe you don't give them credit for everything. Maybe you keep them a little bit on their toes, but you pay them well, right? You treat them well. They feel comfortable. They have food. They have an apartment. They have living expenses, okay? And you don't want to make them feel insecure about that. So being cheap with your money is very, very dangerous. It's a signal of weakness, okay? But on the other hand, when people are offering their services, they come to you saying, I want it for free, I say, forget about that. There's a ploy there. They're after something. But if somebody comes to you and says, Robert, I really want to work for you. I think I could be a really great researcher, and this is what I'm worth. And then you see that they have some experience and you try them out and you pay them. That's going to be a good relationship moving forward. You disappear so that you are a little bit less present. You're able to disappear for a while and you make people wonder about you. Napoleon said, if I show up at the theater every night in Paris, in my little emperor's box, people start taking me for granted. If I show up every week, they'll be going, that's interesting, but he's coming every week. If I show up once a month, it's like an event. Oh my God, he came here. When is he coming next? Whoa, it's all this attention. That's the dynamic of absence and presence. If you come every 2 or 3 days, nah. If you come every week, nah. If you come a month, yeah. If you come every year, people will forget about you, won't have any power. You have to know exactly the dynamic. Nowadays, so like in a dating situation, this is a common example. If nowadays, because things are different, you have a date, and if you're like texting her the next day, or that evening, it's kind of like, I don't know about this guy's a little bit desperate. I'm not so sure about him. If you text the next day, it's a little bit. If you take 2 days, but not 3, she's starting to think about you. She's starting to go, this guy's interesting. Maybe he doesn't like me, or maybe he does. I'm not sure. And she starts thinking about you. She starts fantasizing about you. Then the second day, your name pops up. It has power. It has effect. So if you're inundating somebody, you don't give them room to fantasize. You don't give them room to think about you. And then they start taking you for granted.